Welcome to Ask the Expert, an award-winning daily series from 8:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. to help small businesses. If you have any questions, ask them in the comments of the live feed. If you need any more advice, join the official Intuit QuickBooks SMB community group on Facebook. Accountants and business experts are on hand 24/7. During the live session, we'll be running a poll, so do engage with it and I will reveal the results at the end of the show. I'm Victoria Sheppard and I'm co-founder and managing director of Queens of Mayfair. I'm also opening a wine bar this summer at Harrods. I set up my own business at the end of 2019, which was due to launch in the pandemic, which is Queens of Mayfair, a speciality coffee shop and all-day brunch restaurant. My background is PR and marketing in the luxury hospitality sector. So I've worked with various brands such as Fortnum Mason, where I did their in-house hospitality marketing for multiple sites, and then group PR and marketing director for Mark Restaurant Groups, which encompassed 3 Michelin star restaurants. During the last year, I've been navigating my business alongside my sister, who's my co-founder, throughout the pandemic. So opening and closing, dealing with different government restrictions, and being innovative with our marketing strategy to ensure that we still have a presence within the marketplace despite challenging trading times which have been set upon us by the COVID-19 pandemic. So today we'll be looking at the hospitality sector outside of lockdown, and during today's session I'll be discussing managing cash flow, innovative ideas for marketing and PR, how cancellations impact businesses, staffing shortages during the pandemic, and how people working from home are impacting city centre businesses. So to start off, with regards to cash flow, the businesses in central London, some of them have been very lucky to have supportive landlords, which have meant that they didn't have to find rent each month. Unfortunately, we were not one of those lucky businesses, so had full rent to pay throughout a period with no footfall to our premises. So during that time, what we would do is look at other solutions to drive revenue. So that includes partnering with the likes of Deliveroo and Supper to offer delivery services to our local area, and also offer corporate gifting for companies that have their staff working remotely, and can therefore use that as a touch point or send items such as cocktail kits or coffee breakfast hampers for their breakfast meetings to staff courtesy of Queen. So we're lucky enough to work with clients such as Cartier and the Marriott Hotel Group, just to name a few. But having that extra cash flow during lockdown really supplemented turnover that we otherwise wouldn't have had. In terms of when we've been able to open the business, so from the 17th of May and the other periods in the last year, something we really wanted to do and to create a community feeling is to encourage loyalty. So we partnered with a company called Embargo, and when customers come into store, they tap their app on the machine that we have by the till, and it registers their visit and their spend per head, and also any preferences that they may have. And after 6 visits, they get a complimentary coffee, and after 10, a complimentary cocktail. Within this platform, we've found the push notifications really helpful, as you can reach out to people in the local vicinity and let them know, for example, if you're doing a happy hour or if you've got a special menu on that day. So I think having those quick touch points with businesses and with customers is really, really key. However, conversely, there are so many people working from home And given our city centre location in Mayfair, that has been slightly problematic for footfall throughout the pandemic. So where Mayfair would normally be a busy hub of people, it kind of turned into a ghost town. So it was finding a solution to tap in to people that were in the area, or perhaps that we could entice back to come and enjoy hospitality again. So on that note as well, we partnered with our neighbours on Queen Street. So we have a very kind printing shop just a few doors down, and they allowed us to apply for permission to use their terrace to have outside seating. So we managed to open about 3 weeks earlier than hoped, and were able to engage in cash flow and also to serve customers and kind of get our name back out there. So I think during the pandemic, making friends with your neighbours and having a community spirit, really helping one another, is key. And we've been there to help our kind of fellow hospitality people where they've had staff shortages, for example, as it's been really difficult to recruit in the last 6 months, especially. On the subject of cancellations and actually getting people through the door, we found that especially with outdoor dining and people really feeling like they need to book ahead at the moment, that cancellations have been rife. Sometimes, if the weather is bad, you may get up to 40% of your reservations cancelled. And I think the hospitality industry being able to educate the public on that matter is really important, and for customers to know that hospitality do spend significantly on factoring in their bookings, and that's from staffing to stock levels to turning away tables of people that potentially will turn up. And obviously cancellations do happen in everyday life, but quite a clever strategy I saw recently was that there was a restaurant taking £10 deposits when someone was booking a table, £10 per head, but they were giving them obviously that off the bill plus a £5 credit in the bar. So it was just something a bit extra for their guests as well, which I think is always helpful. In terms of staffing shortages as well, we've had the industry have so many great staff from the European Union, so France, Spain, Italy, and many of those employees went home during lockdown, and due to Brexit restrictions, it's been quite hard for them to get back into the UK, or they just haven't decided to return due to the high living costs in London without the security of employment. So conversely to the situation we had last summer where people had lost their jobs and there were about 100 to 200 people applying for a front of house position, today we're struggling to kind of get half a dozen people apply for those roles. So it really just shows the impact of lockdown on finding great staff. So we're really working hard to retain the people that we've got, offer training and fair working hours and fair financial remuneration for their work. And whilst people are working from home for their employers still, that obviously has a major impact on the businesses in the town centres and also their employees and the actual supply chain that supply these restaurants. So that could be down to the farmers that make the milk for us, deliver the milk, and through to artisan bakeries, because they don't know to what scale that they need to produce. So now we've kind of had an overview of the current issues within the hospitality industry. We're going to take a few questions. So the first one is from Maxine on Twitter DMs. How do you feel about reopening the business? I'm so excited to be getting back out there. but also quite apprehensive after the year we've had. Yeah, totally agree, Maxine. It's been really exciting to see our regular guests again, to see people really happy socialising with their friends and family and having work meetings. I would say the footfall in central London really isn't what it was pre-pandemic. It's probably still in the Mayfair area about 20% of what it was before. There are still a lot of closed hospitality businesses, smaller ones in the area that we're in Mayfair. And I think it's also been a challenge for our staff who have been on furlough from Christmas through to the beginning of May. So having that interaction and going from kind of duvet days to long days on the floor, it's a really challenging time. So I think it's just everyone being kind and patient with each other. But yes, it's apprehensive because I think trading is so unpredictable at the moment, and we've got nothing historically to compare this to. Next question is from Erica on Facebook. I ran a little baking shop and we largely went online throughout lockdowns. Now my store is open, but footfall has actually been a little lower than I expected. Do you have any suggestions on how to generate additional revenue streams and how to plan my cash flow better? Something you could do perhaps in terms of cash flow planning is to take pre-orders for your baked goods. So maybe do some limited edition baked items that are very Instagrammable, get them out there and say, we've got 20 of these available, and get your clients or customers to prepay for those. And I think having a limited number of something can certainly make it more appealing, and you also receive cash upon taking the orders. So before you actually need to go into production. So that could help. And I think as well, really engaging in social media. You can create those items in an Instagram store, but also try and connect with local, if you've got a baking shop, with local schools, local businesses, and maybe even offer some incentives for if there are any local businesses, whether that's 10% off or a loyalty scheme, just to kind of get people going and visiting you regularly. So hope that helps. Next one is from Anthony on Instagram DMs. In the food and drinks industry, new dishes and meals is a great way to build some hype. What's your advice for innovating in this space? Where do you find inspiration? So we find a lot of inspiration. It's something myself and my sister do through actually going out lots, eating, drinking at different places that we would regard as our peers within the hospitality industry. Also following kind of influencers within the food industry can be really helpful to see where they're dining, what they're promoting in terms of recipes and menus. Pinterest is really great for looking at new ideas for food. But I think having dishes that are aesthetically appealing as well is really key for Instagram, doing something a little bit different. So we do update our menu at Queen's seasonally, and we are reactive. If something is going really well, we'll look at what we can do to improve it, and if it doesn't sit quite right with our visitors, then we change it for something that does. Next question is Nathan on Facebook Messenger. Hey Victoria, I know you've got a bit of experience in PR. I've looked into it for my business, but it seems like a full-time job that requires resources we don't have. How can I invest in PR without using external agencies? So I don't know if you've got a hospitality business or not, Nathan, but essentially to kind of send out a press release to a few key journalists, you need to have an interesting story and some imagery, and that's really something you can create in-house. And then I would look at a list of target publications or influencers, and see people, kind of have a look for people that could be really beneficial in terms of their outreach. And then just drop them a message and say, I've got this going on. Maybe you can communicate with them on LinkedIn, or Instagram is a really good way to direct message journalists. There are also a few platforms online that you can use. Really good one is called For Media. So I think there's one called Food for Media. And it will send you alerts from press outlets. So, for example, it could be a journalist at the Telegraph that's saying, has anyone got, which we had this week, has anyone got a dog-friendly cafe? Send us some photos and, we'll feature you in this article. Another good thing to do is go on to Twitter and use the hashtag journo request. And you can quite often find journalists on there, and it is sometimes it's a bit of a needle in a haystack, but you can find journalists that are requesting, could be, where's a great place to go on Valentine's Day, who's doing bottomless brunches, and or it could even be business profiling opportunities. So yeah, really have a look around. Journo Request is a really good one, but otherwise For Media is a paid service. So good luck with that. And I don't use any external agencies. I do all of the PR for the businesses that I look after myself. So good luck. Next question is from Shani on Twitter DMs. A lot of competitors are doing relaunch deals right now. Is it something I could be offering too? And how do I make it unique to my brand? I run a coffee and sandwich shop. I'd say don't sell yourself short. Sometimes discounting isn't necessarily the right thing to do. I'd say try and engage in your social media. Maybe do a set menu. If you run a coffee and sandwich shop, I don't know, perhaps if you do brunch at the weekend, so we offer a set brunch menu, or maybe you could do something like coffee and a pastry for X number of pounds, and also look at add-ons once someone's in the shop. So could that be a lunchtime deal? And if so, have you got local offices that you can promote that to, or local PA networks? I don't know if you're in central London or not, but I'd definitely tap into your community and get them to support local independent businesses. And again, look at loyalty. But I think you have an advantage over chains at the moment, being independent, as people really are wanting to shop local. And if you accept Amex as well, they do special incentives that if you spend £10, you get £5 back in small businesses. So do have a look at that too. Next question is from Mina on Facebook Messenger. I run a Thai restaurant and it's been great to have customers back. While we're all feeling the boom right now, I want the edge over my high street competitors. What could we be doing to stand out from the crowd? So something that you could, or two things that are really important are consistency and the quality of what you're offering. So make sure that you've got a great product. And I think service is really important as well, because there are so many places, and I think this is becoming more and more important for the younger generation, is that people want a great personal service. They want recommendations, and also try and make your dishes Instagrammable, because that's how word is spreading in this day and age online. And again, it's free publicity essentially, if you can get out there and just make sure you're connected to people and other businesses within the local area that could potentially be your customers. So have a good look around if there are any head offices locally or any other businesses in your high street that you might be able to collaborate with. Next question is from Dylan on Facebook Messenger. Hey Victoria, I wanted to get some advice on marketing. I run an independent local cinema. At the best of times, it's hard competing with the big chains, but now we're also competing with streaming services. I want to get bums back on seats and show everyone COVID, so the cinema is COVID secure. Where should I be focusing my marketing budgets? So I don't know where your cinema is, but again, I'd focus on your local community. So could you be doing some special screenings alongside schools or offering special rates for students? Are there places locally where there are OAPs that you could do silver screenings in the mornings, or baby friendly screenings at the weekends? I know that some of the chains used to do that on a Saturday morning, and you could take pushchairs and things in, so that and it was a family screening, so that other people didn't get offended by the noise. But I think definitely, again, connect with your community. People want to support independence. Could you be doing a bundle of a ticket and popcorn and a drink for X number of pounds? As I know, it's kind of a industry-wide issue that people say, you buy the cinema ticket and then the popcorn's £20 or something. So perhaps you could do a set bundle there. Again, use social media. Have you got unique screenings that you could reach out and maybe speak to? I don't know if you have any colleges or universities locally that do media. That could be an interesting option for you. But I think if you're creative with the digital routes, hopefully you shouldn't have to spend too much marketing budget on that. We don't do any paid social or digital marketing at all. So anything you see online regarding Queens of Mayfair is totally organic. Next question is from Courtney on Instagram DMs. I run an independent seaside hotel. We're actually booked up for most of the summer now, which is exciting. We do need some refurbishment, so I couldn't afford it in lockdown and need to be open to make up for lost revenue. What should I do? I think it's really important, if you're able to, just to kind of give the place a light touch up and just see if there are any things you can do with some paint, or maybe even look at second-hand shops or charity shops to see if you can replace items. Even Facebook community or Gumtree quite often have products that people, or furniture that people are giving away that they no longer want. But I guess what would be a bad move possibly is for people to come and for things to be looking a bit shabby, because that will lead to negative online reviews. So I think it's finding the right balance, that if you can go out there and even just spend a few £100s, or if there are small ways that you can dress the rooms, whether that's with some baskets of fruit that may only cost a couple of pounds but really feel like a nice gift for your guests. But maybe have a look on Pinterest even at interior design hacks if it's kind of renovations that need doing. But best of luck for the reopening. Lisa on Twitter DMs, any recommendations on cancellation policy best practice? We want to make sure we can protect revenue without driving customers away. Having a 48-hour policy is pretty good, and what we've started doing is calling people the day before their reservation just to make sure that everything's on track and they're still coming. If you've got peak seating periods, for example Saturdays and Sundays, you can look to take a deposit, or if you've got, for example, bookings of over 4 people, take a £5 or £10 deposit, which is refundable within a 48-hour cancellation period. I'd say always run a waiting list if you are fully booked, as well, as you never know when you're going to get cancellations. So don't worry about making your cancellation list long, as you can potentially fill in gaps throughout the day. And then, as I mentioned earlier, there was a restaurant in London that was offering a small credit on the customer's bill if they did leave a deposit. So whether that's per table or per person, again, it's just another incentive for people to stick with their bookings. And unfortunately, people at the moment are booking multiple venues for the same day, and then cancelling, especially if it's outdoor seating, which hopefully this will change soon. So really good luck with your reopening. Beth on Instagram DMs, the whole hospitality sector was hit so hard by the pandemic. Are you hopeful about the year ahead, and do you think it will recover from here? We are hopeful, as we've seen an incredible amount of bookings, and our reopening weekend last weekend was our busiest ever since we opened the doors to Queen's in August last year. And that's throughout a period of constant opening and closing due to government restrictions. I think there will be some hesitation overall, but also it depends on the position of your business. And that could be, if you've got a local out of town business and people are working from home, then you could have been thriving, and then maybe you'll be slightly impacted when people do go down to work. But businesses and people will need to do events again, and I think events will be a huge part in helping the economy recover. And if you enjoy eating out, hospitality are being very, very proactive in terms of keeping the spaces safe and secure so that people can dine out, and really focusing on hygiene and being COVID compliant. So feel assured that people within the industry are working really hard. And if you can afford to and love eating out, please do go and support local businesses. Next question is from Billy on Facebook Messenger. Family are often your biggest cheerleaders, but can also be your toughest critics. Do you think working with family is a good thing? And any pro tips on how to manage that working relationship? Well, myself and my sister have very specified roles within what we've done and do at Queen's. So Grace did lots of the interior design and project management around opening and dealing with our contractors and organising payments, whereas I'm very much more on the business strategy, marketing and PR. So we kind of leave each other to organise our own sections of the business, and key decisions we come together. Most of the time we agree, but I think it's about leaving the expert to do their job. So I don't interfere with what she does, and she leaves me to do the PR and marketing, and we trust each other's decisions. But if there are disagreements, always try and work through those, and I think take time off site just to go and have a coffee together. But good luck with your business. Daisy on Twitter DMs is just one last question. My past experience of working with local journalists hasn't been very positive. Either they blank me or stories fall through them. What am I doing wrong? And how should I be engaging them? I don't know what your business is, Daisy, but potentially sending them something or inviting them to your business, or if you've got a sample you can send them. As journalists love freebies, but try and be really creative with what you're doing. So do something that will grab their attention. Try LinkedIn to drop them a message, and just explain you're not very experienced. And I've been lucky enough to become friends with lots of journalists that now really look out for our business. So don't give up. They're probably just bombarded with lots of people contacting them. So good luck. And now we're going to look at the poll results. We've asked, now that most businesses reopened, have you had difficulty recruiting? 100% of people answered no. That's very different to my hospitality recruitment experience recently, and those of a few peers that I know. But yes, if you know people that are looking for positions within hospitality, do take a look on LinkedIn, as there are always people posting up jobs, so do get in touch. Thank you everyone for tuning in this morning, and if you want to get in contact with me, you can always send me a DM on LinkedIn. I'm Victoria Sheppard, and do check out Queens of Mayfair and Juliet Knightsbridge on Instagram. Coming up on Ask the Expert after the bank holiday weekend is business strategist and CEO of Enterprise Labs, Ketan Makana. Tune in to get advice on building confidence and communication skills as we find ourselves coming out of lockdown and doing business face-to-face again. A reminder that if you need any more advice, join the official Intuit QuickBooks SMB community group on Facebook. Accountants and business experts are on hand 24/7. I've really enjoyed answering your questions this morning, and have a great day.